All right, hey again, AP Chemistry. The end of my lecture video got cut out, so I wanted to finish these lecture notes in a separate quick video. So the last thing I left off with was saying that this is the most important thing that you could learn in this section, which is converting between mass and the amount or number of moles. And remember that we can't measure atoms or the number of particles on a lab bench, but we can measure the mass in grams. And so the mass of 1 mole of atoms is known as the molar mass, and those have units of grams per mole. Grams over moles, or grams per mole, okay? So for example, if you look on the periodic table, copper has an atomic mass of 63.55. So if you look and use your AP Chemistry periodic table, you look for copper right here is 63.55. So copper has an atomic mass of 63.55 AMU and a molar mass of 63.55 grams per mole. These two are translated to be the same thing, and AMU is the same thing as a gram per mole. You don't have to know why, that's what it is for us right now. So that means if I have 63.55 grams of copper, that means I have 1 mole of copper, okay? Let's look at other ones. I could do phosphorus. If I look on the periodic table, and you're gonna have to trust me, but these numbers are on the bottom here. If I look for phosphorus, the atomic mass, the molar mass now, or average atomic mass, those are equal, at 30.97. So 30.97 grams per mole. All right, and so I'm gonna write that on the side there. And now what this means is if I have 30.97 grams of phosphorus, I have 1 mole of phosphorus. And I could also write this as another conversion factor and say 1 mole of phosphorus is the same thing as 30.97 grams of phosphorus. And depending on what I want to do with those numbers, I could use either of those fractions. I could do the same thing for tin, which is SN. If I look for SN on the periodic table, it's 118.71. So the molar mass is 118.71 grams per mole. And so I could say 118.71 grams of SN for 1 mole of SN, or 1 mole of SN is the same as 118.71 grams of SN. And then osmium, which is my favorite element, has a molar mass of 190.23 grams per mole. And if you look on the periodic table, it had osmium, and it's got an atomic number of 76, which we know that that's the number of protons. And on the bottom, it says 190.23. This is now the molar mass, and we could use this now with our calculations, okay? We can use the molar mass as a conversion factor for calculations now. If osmium has a molar mass of 190.23 grams per mole, that is 1 mole of osmium is 190.23 grams per mole. So 1 mole of osmium is the same as 190.23 grams of osmium, or 190.23 grams of osmium is 1 mole of osmium. I would probably want to use this number if I want to get moles. I would probably use this fraction over here if I want to get grams, all right? So I would multiply times 1 and divide by the molar mass. So if I take grams and I divide by the molar mass, which is mm, I will get moles. But if I take my moles and multiply times I would have to start with moles here. If I take my moles and I multiply by my molar mass, I will get my mass in grams. So you could use these interchangeably. I'm gonna use the conversion factor method way, and this is the last thing I just want to show you. So let's just do examples A and B. I'm gonna skip C because it's not gonna be common to get to atoms like I said in our notes. So let's look at A. It says the amount of osmium, I wanna calculate the amount of osmium in moles contained in a 0.450 gram block of osmium. So I started with 0.450 grams of osmium. If I just want moles, and I know that 1 mole of osmium is 190.23 grams of osmium. If I start with grams, not moles, if I start with grams and I want moles, grams has to go on the bottom, and moles of osmium needs to go on top. Which of these numbers has moles on top? That's this one, A. 1 mole of osmium, 190.23 grams of osmium. If I do this math, I'll do 0.450 times 1 divided by 190.23, and I get 0.00237 moles of osmium. It's the same thing as if I did grams over molar mass equals moles. I could do 0.450 grams divided by 190.23 grams per mole, and I get the same answer, of course, moles of osmium. And then lastly, I'll do B, which is going to act for the opposite. The amount of grams of osmium found in a 2.5 mole block of osmium. So I want to get the number of grams in 2.5 moles. So I start with 2.05 moles of osmium. And if I want to convert or calculate, if I start with moles of osmium goes on the bottom. And this is dimensional analysis that I showed in the chapter 1 lecture notes. And I want grams. So grams of osmium goes on top. That means I'm going to use this one, 190.23 grams of osmium over 1 mole. And if I do this calculation, I'll get 475.575 grams of osmium. You could also do moles times molar mass equals grams. And remember, mm is molar mass, which is the number that you get from the periodic table. So I could have done 2.5 moles, of course, times 190.23 grams per mole, and I will arrive at the same answer of 475.575. So, that is the end of the Chapter 2 lecture notes. You are going to have to know how to convert between grams and moles for AP Chemistry. Some of your Chapter 2 exercises are going to ask you to do the same thing as well. I have plenty of other videos in which I show you how to do this. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns about converting between grams and moles, don't hesitate to reach out in the Remind or ask for a quick Zoom meeting for us to do some of the problems together. Alrighty, hopefully the Chapter 2 lecture notes were helpful for you. Thank you all who stuck around the extra 16 minutes and then worked with the technical difficulties. Hopefully I'll see you in the next meeting, which will be August something. I think it's like August 11th. All right, have a great rest of the day.